This is my JYETech digital storage oscilloscope, the DSO 112, in the bottom left of the screen there, and the JYETech page all about it in the background. I've not been terribly complimentary about this little digital storage oscilloscope, and perhaps that's a little unfair. It's a cheap product, and therefore you've got to assume it's not going to have all the bells and whistles that a more expensive unit would have. It's single channel only. All the stats are here. It only goes up to 2 MHz, 5 million samples per second maximum, 5 millivolts per division on its lowest end, 1 microsecond per division again at the low end. And unfortunately I have had a few issues with it. It does reboot itself occasionally for no apparent reason, and it has turned itself off a couple of times. Now I suspect the battery inside it is pretty poor. The lithium ion cell inside it probably has a very low capacity. But when I was walking around the JYETech site about my issue with the rebooting, I found that if we go down here and look at firmwares, this latest firmware here said fix a minor bug that may cause rebooting under certain conditions. So I thought I'd see if I could get the new firmware on it and see if it improves matters. So I'm going to download that firmware. Just click on the link and it starts downloading, and on the right hand side here there's also some drivers and tools. And in the drivers and tools section we need two things. We need this virtual COM port driver at the very top, and halfway down the tools section we need the Windows application for upgrading firmware via the bootloader. So I'll get those downloaded. So I've put everything neatly in a folder on my desktop. We've got the driver folder there, that's got multiple files in it, 64-bit versions and 32. We've got the actual firmware there, which is a hex file, and the AVRUBD program, which is the actual program for loading the firmware. Now on Windows 10, without doing anything, it's already installed this Silicon Labs CP210 USB to UART bridge on COM4, as you can see. If you're on Windows 7 or earlier, I believe you would need to install the driver, or it would prompt you when you plugged in the digital storage oscilloscope. And with the DSO installed, we can start the AVR Universal Bootloader download program. And the first thing you'll notice is it's not in English, so we need to change the language to English, and then we get an options button and we can click on AVR. The first thing we need to check is that it's set to hex and 64, and we are writing a 64K file. And on the system tab we need to ensure it's light X modem, data frame length is 128 bytes, basic time interval in milliseconds should be changed to 500, and the maximum connect count, I think they decide on 25. And finally on the COM port tab we need to change it to the correct COM port. You saw that mine was COM port 4, 9600 81N, that's correct, and no flow control either. Click OK. And then we need to do file and load and find that hex file that we just downloaded. Mine's in my DSO 112 folder, and open that, and that is the file we're about to upload to the DSO. So at this point you actually need to turn off your digital storage oscilloscope, and apparently the trick is you need to press the DN button, which presumably is short for download, and quickly get it into the bootloader after that. So let's see what happens if I press the button to turn it on and press DN. Well, I'm not sure that worked. Let's try that again. So I have to admit it's a bit difficult to get this to go into the bootloader. So what I think we need to try is pressing the DN button and then reboot. And that's connected successfully. You can see the package uploading there. And I didn't notice earlier there's actually a percentage bar here, so we're up to 89. And the update success took 61 seconds. And there we can see I successfully updated the firmware on my DSO. I believe this is the method of updating the firmware on many JYETech oscilloscopes, so hopefully this has been useful to a couple of people. So now with my JYETech DSO 112 updated, hopefully I can use it a bit more and it won't fail on me quite so often. I hope you enjoyed this little video, and if you did, please give me a thumbs up, subscribe if you can, and I'll see you next time. Thanks for watching.